why should Christians pay taxes, even if these are used to support unscriptural activities? Brother Marcus.
Taxes. There's many types of taxes that we all have to pay at some point in life, in one way or another. It's the government's law, and we make sure to follow their laws since we are under their worldly governmental authority. Although it may be hard to have to deal with these taxes sometimes, the government can use them to do a lot of good. They can be used to fund major health programs such as Medicare and Medicaid, along with Social Security that provides monetary assistance to people who may not have enough income to sustain their livelihood. But on the other hand, the government also uses these taxes to fund things like the military, which they can use to make weapons for their armies. So as Jehovah's Witnesses, wouldn't it be against our standards to pay these taxes, since they could be very likely be used for unscriptural activities? And therefore, should we have to ignore our conscience on this issue in order to obey the laws of today's worldly governments? What did the first century Christians do with this exact same issue? How were they able to deal with it? Well, let's look at Romans chapter 13 and verse 5. It says, "There is therefore compelling reason for you to be in subjection, not only on account of that wrath, but also on account of your conscience." So they continued to pay their taxes, not just because they wanted to avoid potential punishment, but because of, as it says at the end of that verse, on account of your conscience. So yes, our Christian conscience requires us to pay taxes, even if they are used to support activities that we personally may reject. So if we are to understand this apparent paradox, we must also realize the key fact about our conscience. That being, if we are to please Jehovah, our conscience has to conform to his moral standards. To help understand this, let's go to Psalms 19 and verse 7. It says, "The law of Jehovah is perfect, restoring strength. The reminder of Jehovah is trustworthy, making the inexperienced ones wise." Now finally, what is Jehovah's view of the human government today? Let's now return back to Romans 13, and we'll then read verse 6. That's 14. That says, "That is why you are also paying taxes, for they are God's public servants, constantly serving this very purpose." If you'll notice, Jehovah refers to the human governments as God's public servants. What does this mean? Well, basically it means they provide us with valuable duties for society, such as, say, law enforcement, fire departments, and schooling. Of course, he's aware of the potential imperfections that come along with human governments. He tolerates them for the time, being. That is, until he replaces them with his heavenly kingdom, undoing all the damage that those worldly leaders may have caused. So in summary, we want to respect God's arrangement of his public servants, as Romans 13:6 pointed out, and obey our civic authorities by paying our taxes and following Jehovah God's views, just as just as it says at Isaiah 55:8 and 9, as the heavens are higher than the earth, so my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts your thoughts.